December 16th. Raw. Punk. Rollins. What a build-up to January 6th. Netflix. Raw on Netflix. Only a couple of weeks away now. We'll be reviewing Raw from last night. And it's going to be something that I do for Raw and SmackDown going forward. With so much change happening in WWE, I think it's going to be a really exciting time, especially with the Rumble being a month after, obviously, Netflix gets Raw. But I want to talk about this opening segment as well as the rest of the show. And the opening segment was, these two have got a chemistry, okay? They may not like each other, but they've got a chemistry. And, yeah, it obviously was a back and forth verbally. Obviously playing on history of, Rollins is a punk guy, he likes punk, all this, that, and the other. And then obviously Rollins kind of, I guess, taking the route that he did when he took it with Cody. You left here. You slagged this company off whilst you were gone. I was here. I did this. I did that. The company guy, right? Is a lot of eerily similar situations between the two. Now, look, obviously, there was talk about how Rollins and Bronson Reed were to finish up their program together at Saturday Night Main Event, which, by the way, I did the review of it. If you missed it, go back and watch it. But I feel like this program is exciting for so many different reasons because I could see both of them winning it. With Bronson Reed, I was like, Rollins will win it. Reed will get the rub off of it. He'll get better. He'll be look better for it. With Punk and Drew, I always thought Punk was going to win that one. Drew is the heel. I think actually, ironically, Drew taking the massive, obviously blood work was obviously a massive thing for him. But this one, I just find that both could win this. I see this being dragged out. I mean, there was chat about how this thing won't get dragged out. This is going to end by like the Royal Rumble. I'm like, don't do that. Take this thing to WrestleMania and let them just kick the crap out of one another for weeks on end. Because there's so much history here. If we think Punk and Drew was such an amazing program and rivalry, this thing should be up another level. And it's not to say because I don't think Drew's great. I love Drew. But this thing is a decade and more worth of history in there. So, I was really happy for it, for the beef, you could say, the squabble. It seems like at the moment with WWE, there's just so many like little brawls, and I do get a bit bored of them, I can't lie. But no, so much good stuff from this. Rollins in the crowd, Punk in the ring, brawling in the crowd. It was quite interesting. Moving a little bit on, there was obviously backstage segments with the Judgment Day, and there's definitely, it's more seeds being planted for Finn to pull away from the Judgment Day, in my opinion, or a breakup of sorts. We'll obviously come to the Tag Team Championship match at the end, but always interesting. You then have the first match being an Intercontinental Championship match between Breakker and Kaiser. I thought this was a great match. Obviously, Ludwig Kaiser is technically as sound as it gets in WWE. Working on the arm, working on the shoulder. Bron Breakker is an absolute megastar in the waiting. For me, I would 100% have Gunther hold on to the title, win at Mania, all those sort of things. And I'd have Breakker beat him at like a SummerSlam. I could absolutely see, Gunther taking this title on a while. If not, I'd have Breakker lose the Intercontinental title. Maybe around the Royal Rumble season. Hell, you could even see Bron Breakker winning the Royal Rumble and challenging Gunther. I could absolutely see that, and I would absolutely be down for that. Obviously, those two have a history down in NXT. I'd be so down for that. But this is a really, really good match. If you haven't seen it, I'd go back and watch it. It's a really good match. So much psychological work in this match, and these guys have such good chemistry together. I love watching these guys. Obviously, Sheamus being out with cracked ribs. Get Sheamus back in the hell. Have Sheamus beat Breakker. I'll give him the Grand Slam. Absolutely killing it. There was a segment with Rey Mysterio and Kofi and Xavier Woods, the New Day, basically kicking him out of the locker room. That's obviously leading somewhere in terms of a match of sorts. I'm not going to talk about everything else about, you know, backstage segments of you know, interviews and things like that. Then you had Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley promo. I'm just waiting for this to end, to be honest. And you know, Rhea just saying, look, this has to end. And I was keen that she said that. I was happy, you know. This needs to, this rivalry, as much as it has been good, it's now getting a bit stale. And this thing just, I think, needs to end for good and move on, you know. After that was the second match of the night between Raquel Rodriguez, Kaden Carter, and Zoe Stark. And this was a really solid match, in my opinion. Zoe Stark, by the way, I quite like Zoe Stark. All of these three got great offense in. You know, Raquel is obviously an absolute powerhouse. Kaden Carter, high flyer. Zoe Stark, kind of probably a little bit between the two. But Zoe, I think, is a really, really solid wrestler. You know, I think she probably came out the best she probably came out of this looking the best. Obviously, it's the first round for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship tournament, which, by the way, I really like these tournaments, the US title tournament and this tournament. And I think they probably picked it right in Zoe. I was thinking maybe Raquel, but I think you made this right. I think there's so much stuff going on with the Judgment Day. Raquel doesn't need this. But they could probably do with stopping Raquel look weak at times. She's one of the biggest wrestlers on the roster. She's not one of the average Joes, if you know what I mean. Talking about things that are happening in the background, you know, Drew talking to Seth about how, you know, hey, Roman's still the issue. We both agree Roman's still the issue. You know, Jay and Sammy and both going back to him. They're an issue. I'm taking them out. You know, X, Y, and Z. And then towards the end as Rollins was leaving the arena, and you could see Drew in the background beelining it towards him and Sammy attacking. There's just so much stuff going on in Raw, and there's so much good stuff coming on with Raw at the moment. Really, Raw has stepped up recently. You know, it has stepped up recently. You know, you don't think of, like, you know, obviously the big names of like Roman and Cody being on SmackDown, you know, the Bloodline stuff being on SmackDown. Everyone sort of thinks Raw is kind of like an afterthought at the moment, but there is some really good stuff on Raw at the moment. You know, CM Punk, you know, Rollins, obviously Bronson Reed was really good. Obviously going to be gone for a while. That return's going to be great, by the way. You got Bron Breakker. You got, you know, the Ludwig Kaiser, Sheamus Intercontinental scene, the Judgment Day splitting up. There's so much good stuff. So coming on to the Judgment Day, having their title match with the War Raiders and losing this, which is, by the way, a great thing. The War Raiders are absolute money. I love watching those two in Ivar and Eric. Was a really good match. Obviously, the ending was obviously centered around, hey, referee's not singing, getting chairs, and you know, Finn goes to get the chair. He's trying to pull it. It's not coming with him. Turns around. Damian Priest is there. And I didn't pop for it, if I'm honest. The match was decent, but I didn't pop for that. And obviously, you know, Finn being, you know, distracted by Damian. Obviously, then the War Raiders picking him up and obviously hitting their finale. And look, it was a good match. I don't think it needed Damian Priest in there, to be honest. Interesting to see where they go with Gunther and his title reign, or I guess not next title challenger. But yeah, it's like Rhea and Liv. I'm kind of just ready to move on from this now. You know, the Superstar shakeup, I could absolutely see maybe some of the Judgment Day moving to SmackDown, or Damian move to SmackDown, something just completely different that you just remove them completely and move them away, because they need like a freshen up, and I'm kind of done with the whole regime of it at the moment. So we'll see. But anyway, a decent show. I don't think it was that bad. Obviously, you set things up really nicely with subtle things, obviously leading to the future. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'll speak to you all soon. Peace.